Well, welcome everyone. It's really good to see all of you again. I just wish it was under better circumstances. By the turnout we have here today, this tells me that we may be a little bit older, we may be retired, but by God, IBEW Local 1985 members still have the fight. I'd like to start out by thanking Dan Fonte and the board from the Mayfield Senior Center for donating this fine facility for our meeting. Also like to thank WHBC and Ron Ponder for this broadcast today and Ron's support for our cause. I'd like to welcome Martin Olson, thank the repository for their article and advertisement for our meeting, and the representatives from Senator Sherrod Brown's office and Congressman Jim Renace's office. Also our former Congressman John Bucheri for his continuing support for retirees. My friend Dan Scurry, who has been president of the AFL-CIO for so many years that, I don't know, they tell me he's older than dirt, so that's all. Again, Dan Fonte and Norm Ornette from the Alliance for Retired Americans. And thank you for your remarks, Norm. Our attorneys, Alan Schulman and Brian Zimmerman, who you will hear from in just a few minutes. I've known Alan and Brian for years. I called them because if this issue is pursued, we need attorneys that will fight for our rights and can never be intimidated by large corporations. They also represented our local union when I was president. When I explained our situation to Brian and asked him if he and Alan would want to get involved and help us, his immediate response was, of course we'll get involved. These are the kind of attorneys that we want on our side. The next person, all of you know as a co-worker, former local 1985 chief steward, and former local 1985 president and business manager, Jim Gensley. I want to thank Jim for taking time out of his busy life to once again offer his contractual expertise to help us. When Jim and I first talked about this a couple months ago, and I asked him if he would join me in representing you, he said absolutely, and here he is. And I want a few remarks from Jim at this time.
You know, we may all have busy schedules, and I know everybody does, and I hear that old saying, I don't know how since I retired, I don't know how I have time to work. And that's true, you know, and I got two young boys, one's going to be a senior in college, one's going to be a senior in high school. So I'm still getting after it in that respect. But one thing we aren't too busy for is to come back and help our brothers and sisters. And that means you guys helping each other as brothers and sisters. We're never too busy to do that. We've never been too busy to do that. You guys always were there when we needed you. And hopefully we were there when you needed us. We're in this all together. Every one of us. You know, I was standing out there shaking hands earlier. People were coming in, and everybody's getting a little whiter. A little bit whiter. But let me tell you something. By just talking to those people for that short amount of time, you could see that the fire was still red. The fire is still hot. And it just took something like this to get that, to turn that temperature up, and that's why we have such a great turnout here. We are ready to go to battle again, as we always did in the past. And we're going to battle along with you. We need your help, just as we did in the past. And with that, I'll stop. But God bless you for being here. And God bless you for standing up for each other. And God bless the unions all over the world. Thank you.
have been involved in every contract negotiations since 1980. And we have been chief spokesman, one of us, in every contract negotiations since, well, except one, since 1980. So when you look at the contractual experience, what the intensive negotiations were, the spirit of negotiations, I don't know how you could ask anybody else that has the experience to represent you than us. And we are so proud to still be able to do that, because we do care so much for each and every one of you. 2 years ago, I'll start out this way. 2 years ago, you started receiving letters from Whirlpool telling you that they wanted to change your benefits. Your benefits in the last couple of years have been altered. Jim and I have talked through the years, and him and I both agree that that shouldn't be happening. Then when you just recently got this next letter saying that your benefits are going to be drastically changed come January of 2013, we decided, you know what, enough is enough. Somebody's got to stand up for you. And like Jim said, we'll do that. Alan and Brian will do that, but you really need to help yourselves also. And by the looks of this crowd, I think you'll do that. You're going to have the question is, contractually, can they do this? I think that's the ultimate question. In our eyes, the way the contract was negotiated, we feel absolutely not. When many of you retired, you sat down with the Hoover Company representatives. They went over a packet with you. Within that packet was your insurance options. And at that time you were told you need to choose an option, although there was an open enrollment period to change. Or if there was a lifestyle change within the year, you could change also. You were also told, many of you, that these were your benefits for life by company representatives. Then in, I believe it was 2005 or maybe 4, the union started helping out with those packets since there were so many people retiring. Today, Whirlpool says, we don't care about the contract, we don't care what the intent is, we want to change your benefits.